This is Matt Bischoff from Survivor Caramoan. It's time for you Survivor fans from around the world to speak up. This is Survivor Talk with D&D's Listener Feedback Show.
This is Survivor Talk with D&D. I'm Dwaine.
And I'm not David.
Whoa! Who are you?
I'm Shayna D.
That's right, this is Shayna D. So it's another D, it's just not the David D. It's his Shayna D, our D&D prospect, and she is filling in for David, who is, he says, Shayna, that he is at a soccer tournament, but I think he just wanted to watch the Dallas Redskins game tonight. That's what I think.
Oh, is he a Dallas fan or
No,
a
he's a Redskins fan, and I'm a Dallas fan.
Oh, you're a Dallas Cowboys fan? Oh,
yes.
Man.
Hey, don't knock the Dallas Cowboys. So anyway,
I like Tony Romo. He's from Wisconsin.
All right. So we want to thank everybody for listening. If you are new, welcome. If you've been listening to us for a while, we're glad you came back. You're probably listening to tonight's show because you know we're going to have a special guest. I'll introduce her in a minute. We do want to thank you for starting your shopping on Amazon using our website, survivortalkwithdnd.com. There you will find Shayna's blog that she just put up under Shayna Says. Oh, that was a good blog, Shayna. Good job.
Thank you.
And then we have Katya's blog all the way from overseas in the UK. And, of course, David's. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have on the air with us tonight RC Saint Amour.
Hello and welcome. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we're thrilled to have you. It's going to be a wonderful, fun time.
I get to say all the things that I would have said if I was not on an island with these people.
That's right. You get to tell us whatever you want, and you get to tell us about your show. And in fact, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the show that you do with artists so our listeners can know about it.
Yeah, so I was approached to do a Survivor podcast myself with artists who was also on my tribe in Tangding in season 25. Right. And so it's through TV Talk, and you can download it. It's an app, and it's just 20 minutes, and you can kind of listen to hear what me and artist has to say about the season.
Yeah, and are you enjoying doing that?
It's so fun because, as you know, I was supposed to be on this season, and so I was so involved, and I know, like, the dirty little secrets that no one really wants to say, so I say them. Yes. So it's fun to be able to, like, really give you the behind-the-scenes dirt of the season when I'm not on with you guys, especially, on every episode. So if you guys want to hear some little tidbits, tune in and listen to me and artists.
All right. That sounds great. Now, is there a particular reason why they're not doing it as a podcast, like you can download on iTunes?
So Survivor's not the only show that they do. So they've got 60 other shows. Exactly. So if you're into something else, tune in and listen to what other hosts, I guess, have to say.
Oh, I see. So you download the app, and then in that app is y'all's show.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, let us know what you guys think.
All right. And before we ask RC about all those dirty little secrets that she just can't wait to tell us, we want to thank y'all. If you nominated us for the podcast awards, we want to thank you for that. We have a very slim chance of winning the thing, but it sure would be great to be nominated. So thank you for nominating us and all that good stuff. We're going to talk to RC tonight, get her take on the current season. I already talked to her about her show. We have a couple questions from some of y'all. And also, we'll get to our listener feedback, which, RC, you're going to stay for the feedback?
I think so, yeah.
I think so, unless she gets tired of us. There you go.
Or tired of certain questions.
Oh, no, you'll be all right. You're going to have fun on the show.
Yes.
Andrea had fun on the show. Matt Bischoff's had fun on the show. Sherry Beethman had a blast on the show. Oh, my gosh.
How could you not?
That was a 3-hour podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, she likes to talk about stuff. So anyway, and we'll also give our fantasy picks for episode 5. Hopefully David will be in later on in the show. We'll be able to do that. And I, ladies and gentlemen, have my crazy theory for episode 5. So there you go. So RC, let's just get right to the heart of the matter.
Yes.
Your daddy had a little high blood pressure or something, right?
Something like that. I mean, of course, they're making it a lot worse than it really was. You know, we go through so much medical testing before we ever get out to the island. Right. That's number one. Number two, I don't know if everyone knows this, but a 23-year-old died on Survivor France.
Yes, I heard about that.
Yes.
Right. So because of that, medical testing went up exponentially this year. So we had to get like sonogram tests of our heart. It was like crazy. The restrictions that they were putting on us this time around than my first time. And so I think it was just a legal issue with everything that happened with the guy from France that they didn't want to have, God forbid, something else. So It was just a little bit high. It was 2 days before the game was actually supposed to go. He is completely fine. There's been no follow-up. So it's like the worst part, like 24 hours later when we're sitting in like Manila, the hospital, to know that like he's fine. We could have really played.
Right.
But you never know, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, so blood pressure can go up and down during a day.
Exactly.
I mean,
You're nervous.
Exactly. And like travel, I think it was more of the fact of his age. He's 60. That, it was really Dr. Ramona. Production did not want us to go, which was like the nicest way possible to get the boot out, is like when everyone's like crying and really upset.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, that and it totally screwed up CBS's plans for the game.
Oh, completely. So, I guess it's a lesson for the future not to say it's blood versus water season and get the logo printed up.
Yeah.
Before it starts.
Yeah. So Shayna and I both believe, at least Shayna, if I'm not speaking for you, you just let me know, that whenever y'all left,
yes,
they went into hyper mode. How are we going to spin this?
Spin it.
Because it was going to be the blood relatives versus just the lovers or whatever.
Yeah, so here's what I've heard a couple different things, and I don't know how true they are. And this is also, I've been a big defender of Colton this entire time. And one of the reasons why is because Colton signed on to play with his fiance, not apart. And so, again, when we got split up, Colton's entire game got screwed up, too. And so he was kind of bamboozled. A lot of people went into, nervous mode as well.
Right.
But primarily, I heard that they were trying to cut Kat and Hayden from the season to make it 16. Uh-huh. But then CBS pushed back. Yeah. And then I also heard that Candace and her husband were never supposed to replace me and my father. They were always there. They were there on location, by the way, not in DC like they said.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And something happened because they were nervous about another couple. They were going to pull another couple, not us.
Uh-huh.
So there you go. That was my theories.
Well, let me just go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of a
pat on the back. Yeah, you were right.
A pat on the back, but not only that, because whenever Colton would listen to our podcast, Colton listens to us.
Oh, hi, Colton.
Hi, Colton. And Colton tweeted me and said, I want to talk to you. How do I get in contact with you? So I gave him I said, well, no, I'm just kidding. So I gave him my email address. And he emails me and he says, y'all get me.
Yeah.
He said so many of these other podcasts are just ragging on me, but y'all are actually trying to understand how I'm playing and why I'm playing. And David and I were constantly saying, look, he came on that show thinking he was going to be with Caleb, and they pulled the rug out from underneath him, and so it messed him up.
Exactly. And it's like little things like that I kind of can bring a little bit more color around. Like I felt desperate my first season, sitting there for 17 days, knowing that I was in the bottom, I was next to go, no matter what, fighting hard. And watching Colton sort of scramble, essentially, the same exact way that I did, trying to, quote unquote, create chaos or make something happen, and no one's listening to him.
Right.
Well, he already knows this is his second time. He knows he's at the bottom. Why would he stay and put himself through that again?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so you actually are okay with him quitting?
I mean, I don't know. It's really difficult because if you listen to why he did it, his theory behind it, if that's how he felt.
Yeah.
Who am I and who are you to judge?
Well, okay.
Right?
I thought, Jeff's treatment towards him, I just thought was really uncalled for. And I thought of in your season when, dang it, I'm forgetting her name.
Dana?
Yes.
Yeah.
When she quit or medevac, whatever you want to call it, because she was sick. Jeff was so tender towards her.
Yeah.
But basically the same type of thing Colton went out for in One World. Stomach pain and just wasn't feeling good. And Jeff is flat out saying, you quit. And he was so he just treated Dana so differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really interesting juxtaposition on how, Jeff Probst treats women versus men, but also specifically I feel bad because they used Colton. Production used him for ratings or to hopefully get the same character. And I don't think Colton gave us the same character as he did the first time around.
No.
But they purposely send psychopaths out there to, not Colton, by the way, but they purposely send psychopaths out there to use them. And so it's unfortunate, afterwards that they have to deal with it, the people themselves, because they don't realize.
Right.
But that's the name of the game.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, and if you've been out there before, then you know the shenanigans that CBS is going to do, so I guess you're prepared for it to some extent.
Exactly. Yeah. And I had a really great edit, so I'm certainly not going to complain.
Yeah.
but when you sign up for it, my whole family was, very questioning of what am I going to be perceived as.
Right. Now they're going to ask you to come back again.
They have already, I will admit, and I've declined. So I think I'm okay for now. I think Survivor for me was the most amazing once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I think maybe it should stay that way.
Well, if you ever change your mind, I can't wait to watch.
I appreciate it. But, my hope is that, real fans get a chance to play. Those people,
true.
The people that have applied 17 times, like artists. If me not going back frees up a spot for them, then, that's my hope.
Kudos to you, because if CBS is going to make us have returning players, I'd love to see you on there. But if CBS will do a true blood versus water with all newbies, how awesome would that be?
It'd be amazing, especially because I think a lot of you saw it in this episode. So Brad's trying to play him and Monica's game, but he'd rather throw himself on the fire. And I think, and this is just from my perspective, that this is Monica's last time to play. And I'm not sure if she would have been asked back if it wasn't for Brad.
Right.
And so I think he was always going to sacrifice himself no matter what, because he might get a second chance, whereas this was it for her. Right. And so Brad in a regular season would be entirely different. So he's trying to control the game, whereas you can't really do that when you're a newbie, because you're not smart enough to figure it out yet.
Right. Oh, yeah. And you can definitely tell a difference in how newbies play and how returnees play.
Yeah, and so what's really interesting is that obviously the returnees, some of them are 4, 3, 2-timer returnees, their level of gamemanship versus the family members, and then the differences between the family members. I always said that Sierra and Vitus are playing second-time returnees.
Yes.
Instead of someone like Brad or Caleb, I guess, did something good here. Right. But Katie, I mean, come on, come on, really?
Katie and Kat should just go on a tribe together, and
what would they say to each other?
I don't know, but Kat ain't doing anything right now.
So that's fine. She can have no confessionals, and that's all good to me. And whenever I say anything negative, I'm just speaking on the character they give us. And
exactly.
My thing with Kat was, in her season, I didn't mind that they show her saying ditzy things and looking spacey. Because, being spacey, that's fine, because I am too. But the part I didn't like is she showed this kind of sense of entitlement when she said, when the guys started the fire for her, and she said, those guys started fire, but mind you, I could have started that fire. And when she got voted off, she was saying, those girls will never survive without me. I fed them every day. I started that fire every day. And I was just thinking, come on, really?
It's so interesting. And that's why, I've loved this show for so long. It's what you really get to watch people and listen to people and how they really think of themselves or the game. Mm-hmm. And so you're so insular. You think that everything sort of revolves around you when you're on the island. So it's so funny that Kat did so well in her first season, not because of her own gamemanship, but because of the situation. And then to watch her this time around being this is more of the person that we thought we were going to see.
Yeah.
So it's just very interesting.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So did you have any quote-unquote pregame alliances going on?
I did. I hate answering it like this, but since I already answered it for Dalton, I might as well, keep the cat out of the bag. And so I like to call them pre-existing relationships, not pregame alliances.
Yes.
So there's undeniability that Jarvis, Tina, and Aris are together, and they're going to be together till the end because they've been friends for 10 years.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
So I've met Kat at charity events, and so I've kind of hung out with her. So there's a little bit more of a I know you, and and not just from TV.
Right.
And so I was going to be in an alliance with her, and then I just love Monica as a player, as a human being, and I thought that we had a lot in common. And so she was going to be my number one. I was not going to turn on Monica and her husband at all. And then my dad felt very, very comfortable with Brad. So since I was basically already with the One Worlders, we were going to pull in Colton for a fourth, and then we were going to be 4 strong.
Right.
So now this was all pregame.
Right.
As we just talked about, it was supposed to be blood versus water. So basically they, all 3, if they stuck together, would have been golden till the merge and potentially later. I would have been screwed. Because I would have been on a tribe with Arish, Jarvis, and Tina, and then it was going to be me and Laura that were probably going to be hung out to dry.
Yeah.
So that's why I also think I dodged a bullet on this season.
Yeah. So it's almost kind of, so there's a part of you that's almost glad that you didn't get on.
Yeah, I mean, like, you never know what could happen, but I think, like, when relationships are that solid, they're really hard to break, and so I would have had a uphill battle again, which is also maybe why I feel very emotional for Colton, because I can imagine being in that position for a second time, and I don't know how I would have handled it.
Sure. Well, you know, Colton told me, and he said it was okay if I share this, he told me that he told production, the only way I'm coming on the show is if I'm on a tribe with Caleb.
Yeah.
That's the only way I'm coming on.
Yeah, and you know, that's why I felt the worst for him. So when I left and I'm like, you know, crying, obviously because I can't play anymore, he was the one that I kept saying, I feel so bad because he's just a sitting duck now. Right. And I knew it. Because everyone was kind of gunning for him. He's an easier target, same as Rupert. Yeah. There were easy targets going into the season that we sort of knew neither one of them was ever going to make it even to the merge.
Right. And, you know, they didn't even play with Colton.
No.
That's kind
of... You know what? Yeah, in one sense, like, okay, I'm going to take myself out and be a fan for a moment and not a friend and a survivor.
Sure.
In one sense, I'm so proud of them because they finally didn't allow, you know, a person to get their way, essentially.
Right.
So a lot of times there's someone who can't win, like Abby or someone else, but you let them keep going because you want to sit next to them in the end.
Right.
So I was proud of them for not letting like a Russell or someone else keep getting through for no reason.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, that's just something that David and I were talking about. Every time he would try to play the game, they would just not
shut him down.
Yeah, they would shut him down. So he never could do anything. So he was just sitting there totally frustrated, not able to play the game. And they were playing the game.
Oh, yeah.
See, I don't think they could go, oh, we don't want to play the game. But they would go off in the woods, and they were playing the game. Their game was, Colton's not part of us. And as soon as we lose, if we ever do,
he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. So
it's so frustrating. I hate that.
Yeah. I don't know that they will lose. My goodness.
I mean, I've talked about this before. The smartest move that they should have made was throw that challenge, that last challenge. They should have thrown it because all of them, that 5 would have been safe. So is the person on the bottom, which I assume right now is Laura or Kat because we're not hearing anything from them.
Right.
Occasionally we'll get Laura interacting with people. And so the best thing that they should have done was throw the challenge, keep their family members safe, and send one of these people off to Redemption Island. I don't know why they didn't think this through and do it.
Yeah, lots of people are saying that Sierra's mom should have thrown the puzzle so that Sierra could have won, and then they could have gotten rid of Kat or Laura B, just like you said.
Yeah, but I think that on the reverse, the survivors were the ones that applied for the show or got on the show to begin with.
Right.
So the competition's in their blood, and they've tasted it.
Right.
These newbies don't really know what they're doing or what they got themselves into. It's still very new for them. They don't have, like, you know, PSTD from like the After Effects.
Yes.
And so I understand why none of them can throw it.
Right.
But I think that they're letting the game play them. I don't think they're playing the game yet.
Half of them seem like they're not really into it so much, like John and Rachel, and I don't know if Katie is or not. We haven't really heard.
We haven't seen
much from her. So about half of the loved ones really don't seem like they care if they stay or go.
No, and it was something that I've also mentioned before is that, this wasn't the A casting season that Survivor wanted. They sort of put the feelers out there for round 1, and they didn't get the characters that they needed or that they wanted to fill the spots.
Right.
So they sort of had to go to the B round and the C round and the D round. And I'm not naming names on who those people are. I'm just saying.
Well, of course, you were the A round.
Of course.
Of course. You were the A round.
I actually was, but
I know. Well, I'm sure you were.
But you can sort of see that in their family members is that there's not really a good dynamic sometimes with the loved ones or even with the players themselves is that they've tuned out. And sometimes you can't really count on what someone's going to do when they haven't eaten or sleeping or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, no, there's definitely disconnects, which is a little disconcerting. But it's been a fun season. How do you guys feel about it?
I love it. And I think a lot of other fans were not, I didn't have any positive feelings really. I thought this was just going to be a horrible idea. And I think Dwaine mentioned last time that Jeff, we usually hear him talking up a season before it starts, and he really hasn't for this one. And I thought, well, maybe he was just really confident and thought, I don't need to say anything. It's going to speak for himself. But I don't know, Jeff, I don't think he would really hold back. It's interesting that he wasn't coming out and saying this was a great season.
Yeah. This isn't Survivor. This season is not traditional Survivor, so I think we should all appreciate it for what it is. And there's a lot of emotion, which is fun. But, I look forward to next season, which is all newbies. I can say that.
Oh, good. That's something no one knows unless you already told Dalton. Did you tell Dalton that?
Oops.
They gotta be filming now or something, right?
No, they're done filming.
Okay, I will not post that on Twitter, but everybody that listens will hear it, unless you don't want me to put it on there. But.
You can tease it. You can be like, RC said something.
Yes, I will. Okay, so let me tell you my thought about the season. If anyone that's listened to my podcast, or to David and my podcast, knows that I said from the beginning, I'm going to give this season a shot, just like I give every Survivor season a shot. I'm going to go into it thinking it's going to be good, and I'm not going to be negative about it. And it has not disappointed to me.
Good.
Even Redemption Island. Okay, so there's two things about the season that have surprised a lot of people and that I like about it. Redemption Island is adding a dynamic that is just crazy. I wasn't thinking I was going to like Redemption Island too much.
Right.
But my goodness, they're letting everybody in, and it's like confessional out loud. Let's talk strategy. John's sitting there. He's been voted out, but John gets to tell the tribe who voted him out and what they should be doing with him.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh my gosh!
And I think we're finally getting to see people's true feelings.
Oh
When people leave the game, they're pissed.
Right.
And I don't know if you watch Ponderosa. Sometimes we ham it up for TV.
Sure.
But for most of the time, people are in their rooms in fetal position, crying hysterically.
Yeah.
And they don't really show you that. They show you we're drinking and watching TV. It's not really like that. We're miserable. We're unhappy. And so those feelings are finally being portrayed on TV, and I think it's the most fabulous part. And you're finally also getting the interaction with the loved one.
Yes, that was my second thing. The whole blood versus water, the whole having relatives on there has just added a dynamic to the game. It's added a whole new level of a strategy and how you play and how you vote and everything. It has really made the game fresh to me.
I agree. And then with some of the loved ones, you get this level of oh, this is a real person.
Yes.
Whereas I'm not sure if we got that last time.
Right.
So everyone's sort of getting their justice with, oh, well, who are they playing with? Who is this and who is that? And so it's very interesting. And certain characters that you used to like Candace, I used to like her. Mm-hmm. Watching her now, I'm like, really? Is this the same person that was on Cook Islands?
Man, she's a competitive beast.
She is. And has her husband's balls.
Oh, boy, does she ever. She's like, John, let's do this. I mean, forget it.
He's okay.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, man. So do you have a pick to win it all? Now, well, before you answer, have you been spoiled at all?
I have. So actually, I was going to say that to you.
Okay.
So
Well,
I only have bullet points in the season before watching because I kind of really wanted to be fresh, but I kind of also really wanted to know like who won and like, where my lines ended up.
Yeah.
And so I sort of know bullet points. So I'm not going to answer that, but I'll say that I'm looking forward to the merge action. Then I think it's going to get a little dull. And then I think the ending is going to come home strong in the end.
Well, good.
So look forward to some more good stuff. When it gets boring, stick with it because I think it's going to be a good ending.
Yeah, so basically there's going to be a pagonging going on, although you can't, don't verify.
I didn't say that.
No, you're not saying that, but I'm just saying. So, well then, I'm just going to tell you what I think, and don't you respond because I don't want you to give it away.
Okay.
I don't think a loved one has a chance in Hades of winning the game.
I have to say, no, I'm not going to say anything like that. I'm going to say going into the season,
yes,
it seemed like every loved one except for Hayden was going to lie down on their sword for their loved one.
Right. Yeah.
So I think going into it, we all knew that it wasn't going to be a loved one that was going to win.
Yeah. Well, I have Hayden making it far, so that's good. And
who?
Hayden.
No, I know, but who is that? I don't know who that is.
Hayden?
Well, he doesn't get airtime. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yes. Yes. Well, he's gotten a little bit more airtime.
Okay.
Just like one or two confessionals this last one.
If he was on Big Brother, you'd be like, who is that guy?
Yeah, okay, true. But he has gotten the title of the show the last two shows. He has spoken the title of the show the last two shows.
Well, good for him.
So there you go.
There you go.
We certainly see him a whole lot more in Cat.
Okay,
Laura
what do you
B.
think? Who do you think is going to win, Shannon?
I think Tyson and Jervis, I think they're showing them a lot for a reason. I think they're going to be in the final too, and I think they're going to take one of the moms with them, either Tina, Monica, or Laura M. And I think it's going to be between Tyson and Jervis. I don't think the third person is going to probably get any votes, just because, I mean, after watching so many seasons of Survivor, you can kind of pick up on what the editors do, and I have that feeling. I know it's really early, but I have that feeling already.
She can't fight this feeling any longer.
But I picked Monica to win. So
yeah, you know what's funny? You talk about Tyson going into the season. I was like, who the hell would ever vote for Tyson for $1 million?
Right.
We all used to do so much research on each other before ever going out to play with them because, we're returnees. Mm-hmm. Tyson did an interview with Rob that said if he won $1 million, what he would do with it. Uh-huh. You guys have to go listen to it because after listening to that, before I ever left to go play, I was like, why would I ever give this man $1 million? And so it's so interesting because you can think he's a great player, but in the mindset when I was in the van going to vote for the Philippines, I was sort of like, well, I mean, it is a large sum of money. Who would it benefit the most and why? It certainly creeps up into your mind.
Yeah.
And so as much as Tyson's a very, maybe deserving in the sense of playing the game, there's always that layer to it as well.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that he accepted the invitation to come back because I've listened to those interviews on Rob Has a Podcast, and they're very long. I think each of them are about 3 hours. But Rob has asked him, about the game, and he always acted like he really just didn't care. He says he doesn't really watch it anymore.
Which makes him non-threatening, right?
Right.
Right. If anybody's listening out there and is ever going to play Survivor again, the key word is non-threatening. Go out on that island and be nice, like Hayden. Don't open up your mouth. Watch these players that do really, really well and figure out why. And the reason why is because they're not like Brad Culpepper that's going and fishing and, being the leader and doing this. People who are non-threatening are always going to get the farthest.
Right.
That's true.
That's
yeah.
true.
It's a little frustrating, but it's just the way it is.
Yep. So my pick to win, I had picked Colton at the beginning.
Oh.
I know, and so I had to change my pick, and I changed it to Tyson.
Cool.
So maybe he'll win. David is on the show. David.
Hey.
David, I'd like to introduce you to RC and to Shayna.
Hi, David.
Who is RC? I'm just kidding.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
Nice.
I wore a bathing suit. Did you happen to catch that?
Yes. Yes. She wore.
We were hoping to catch it again, but we understand.
David.
I'm sure you've already talked about that.
Oh, no.
You know what the funniest part is? So I walk into casting. This is actually the same day as our medical testing. We also do wardrobe checks. I walk in and there's like different, still in leopard theme bikinis laid out for me. And I'm like, what's this? And they're like, well, we think maybe your bathing suit was too small last time.
Oh,
and I was like, that's not happening.
Oh, man. Well, David,
I fought for you, viewers, so don't worry.
Yes. Well, David, we are done. I hope you enjoyed it.
I would go back. I tried to watch on my way home, but it wasn't on air.
No, we're not. We can't do it on air.
Gotcha.
She has a Microsoft Surface or something, and you can't do that on that. So
yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right. Well, I tell you what, RC, we'll talk. By the way, you are wonderful. You are a great guest to have.
Oh, thanks. I spilled some stuff.
Yes.
That I always regret after. I'm always like, did I really say that?
Yeah, like next season is all newbies. Love it.
Oops.
Oh, wow.
I know, David. How you like them apples?
Here first.
That's right. Rob ain't got nothing on us.
He's got a newborn, but he ain't got the first news.
He's got 23,000 more Twitter followers, but all right, anyway. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do some feedback for episode 4. And RC's going to hang around with us and comment and talk about them with us. How you like them apples, David?
Those are sweet.
All right. All right, so our first feedback is from Wendy in South Dakota.
And David, it's Wendy from South Dakota calling in with my feedback. Obviously, I was thrilled to see Brad get voted off. Just didn't care for the guy. Although on one of my past feedbacks, I said that I was starting to not like Monica because she's associated with Brad. Part of me feels for her here because she's just standing by her man, and I guess I can understand that concept. So my dislike for her is waning, I suppose. I'm really upset with CBS. The things that they're releasing, even the titles and the little synopsis of the episode, is too much information. I mean, when I first saw it, I assumed that Brad was going to switch with Monica, and then Janice, smartly pointed out to me it could also mean that John and Candace, one of them goes home. But either way, I don't want to know that. I want to be left in the dark until the episode airs. I mean, really, I don't want either of those things to happen. And now that I know that one of them for sure is going to happen. So I'm just so frustrated. I want to go back to the days where their synopsis of the episode was one tribe mates get voted off the island. So anyway, I just wanted to express my frustration there, and thanks for all you guys do. Take care.
All right, so I do not think that Monica is going to take Brad's spot. I think she's going to offer, and I think Brad's going to say no. What do y'all think?
I agree. I think it's a red herring.
I mean, I agree for what I kind of said earlier. I think Brad knows that he's got a second game in him if he wants to take it. And I think that that's what was driving his decision to get rid of John and to also get rid of Caleb, which was the smartest strategic decision. Did he go about it wrong? Yes, clearly, since, he flipped or Caleb got everyone to flip.
Right.
But I would like to disagree with the listener about Brad.
Yeah.
I think that, he's getting a lot of attention because he brings in viewership, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he's getting all of, the clips or whatever, which is what's making you feel one way to the other. Mm-hmm. But he's not a bad guy. I think that Hayden, Caleb, and Vetus were all really leading the tribe, but letting Brad feel like he was leading the tribe and letting him get all the hits. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take one vote to get someone out. It takes the entire tribe to vote you out. But everyone's blaming Brad. And so I think it's very unfortunate, and I think he's getting the short end of the stick.
Yep.
I think
I agree with
Brad's
you.
biggest problem is that Brad is being Brad. I don't think he's able or has been able to adapt like Monica is doing better this season. She's doing a better
100%.
job of fitting in. And I don't know if that's from being a lack of a student, not knowing as much about the game as he might think he did, but he also came into a tribe of all new players thinking, hey, I've got a leg up because I've seen this game as much as them, and I'm going to be myself. I'm the older guy. I'm the big brother. And he went about it that way. I think his moves were like a week or two too early, especially the John move.
Yeah.
But I think his biggest thing is he can't not be himself. I think that's his adjustment.
I agree with you, and actually both are great points. But when you specifically say about Brad's personality, is he is that guy. He is out there. He is strong. But look at the rest of the tribe. Everyone else is low key, low dynamics,
right.
And so he just doesn't fit with the rest of the tribe.
Right. Well, you had to go ahead, Shayna.
Yeah, I really like Brad too. And when I seen that episode and Monica was all upset because she is hearing people, say things about her husband. I liked Brad from the start, and the thing is, I only know Brad from Survivor. I don't know him in real life, but I see a similarity in him and my husband. Brad has had a lot of life experiences and has done some really amazing things, and he likes to tell his stories about his experiences, and my husband is the same way. He was in the Navy for 20 years and went to Iraq and Afghanistan, and he talks a lot and likes to tell his stories. And I thought, well, if my husband went on Survivor, he would probably be that guy who talks a lot and kind of takes the lead. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know how I would do it. I've seen people, blast my husband like that, and
right.
See, I could see Monica wanting to rehabilitate his reputation by wanting to take his place and say, you people need to get to see my Brad. Let me take your place and give you a second chance. And he's going to say, absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely. You stay where you are. There's no point in me going on that group. And let me do this challenge, and we'll go from there.
Right.
I don't know. I disagree with you, because if you listen to her, how she asks. And that's what she did. She asked. She's like, "Can I take your spot?" Hell no! Everyone knows who Monica is. She's not a wallflower that says, "Can I take your spot?" She if I was in her position, or if she really wanted to take her spot, she'd pick up her stuff and walk down to that arena. That was a little bit manufactured for me, even though I love them.
Yes. Okay, RC, you have to admit, or maybe you don't have to admit, but I have to say, Brad doesn't know when he's in a confessional and when he's in front of a bunch of people when he says things. Right? So, he's in front of the whole tribe, and he goes, now, of course, if you don't have a loved one, you're a bigger target. Hello, Caleb's standing right there.
I don't know what it is. So I only went to one tribal as an actual player versus sitting, on the side for 3 hours watching it happen. But these idiots get in there and they think, because I'm with Jeff Probst, that it's okay if I just, give the entire tribe's secrets away.
Exactly.
Keep your mouth shut, people. I don't understand it. It happens season after season after season. Yep. Shut it.
Yes. Don't let Jeff pull it out of you.
Exactly. And but he'll do it. I've watched it.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously. And he'll just pound you he pound Lisa, and then the girl ends up crying and then giving away everything, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, but what a great highlight reel that makes. Next week on Survivor, they show Lisa bawling her eyes out.
Yes.
I think that's the only clips that you really have from her.
Yeah. Every week on Survivor, Lisa
I was
cries.
there, trust me. That's why she made it to the end, because she would just bawl her eyes out, and everyone's like, "Oh, Lisa's crying again." Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's a clip. Oh, it's like Cochran. Oh, there's a clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, next we have Enrico from the Philippines.
Yay!
Yay, he was there. He saw you. No, he didn't. Hello there, DDNS. No weather report today, going straight to the episode. And what an epic episode that was. I mean, every scene delivered substantial insight to the season, which is already shaping up to be as complicated as it is exciting to watch. And then he spells out epic and says something about each one. E, extremely entertaining. Galong's rowing ineptness. Tadhana now matching Matsing levels of clutch time failures. Talk about all muscle and no puzzle. Are they destined to fail? Yeah. That was.
I mean, that's why they were brought on the season. You realize that, right?
Yes.
None of them were ever supposed to win.
Yeah, right. The Coconuts bandits being, well, themselves. Kat's cluelessness. Team Cody at Redemption Island, somehow making the most of their second honeymoon. Laura M., always on the brink of crying. Lots of swimming and fishing, and many others. The lack of reward wins for Tadhana doesn't seem to affect them as much since the weather has been good, and they essentially have all the tools they need. Oh my goodness, have you seen all the tools they have?
Yeah, I know. It's so unfair.
Gosh.
I know.
And here's a big screen TV for your hut. All right. This season has been generally well edited thus far, and all without any major contribution just yet from the hidden immunity idol. And that's true, because John certainly didn't find it. All right, P, personal game. I get where Monica is coming from, but this is exactly what this season is about. Are the relationships formed beforehand strong enough to survive and be successful in a game where outwitting, outplaying, and outlasting may bring out personalities one is never aware of? Guilt by association plays a big role this season. What to do then? Doing what Brad did certainly isn't a good example. RC, what do you think? Guilty by association, is that playing a big role?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, any excuse in Survivor to vote someone out or turn the tides or whatever, like, you just need to, like, you know, I don't even know, burp in someone's face to be
Right.
like, no, that person's horrible.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so any little thing, people will jump on top of it,
Right.
even if it's your loved one. It's the
Yeah.
connections.
Or, you know, like cheer when you win. So let's vote off your sister or your niece or whatever.
Yeah.
See, I think that's also having an effect on how this game is going. It's kind of obvious that people aren't being voted off because of what they're not doing for the tribe. They're being voted off because of who their loved one is.
Sometimes.
So it's changing the effect of how the game is being played or how it's going down. You know, Redemption Island is there, so they know they're not going anywhere. But who's getting voted off because they're the weakest member of the tribe? Nobody. It's all a
Yeah, but
strategic vote off.
it's not like that anymore either. I was the first one technically voted off of my tribe, and I was by far not the weakest.
Right.
True.
And so it's just the way Survivor's changed and evolved. And I don't like new school Survivor in that sense, but there's nothing you can do about it
Right.
Why were you voted off?
because I was the biggest threat.
Because you were the threat. Okay.
Did you watch this season?
Oh,
I did.
boom.
I did. I didn't find you to be the biggest threat. I thought you were kind of ramrodded off of there, but otherwise,
I
Well,
think RC would agree with you that she was ramrodded
I
off
think she
of
was
there.
guilty by early association with Abby Maria, but that's another story altogether.
Yeah, she don't want to talk about Abby Maria, and I don't blame her.
Okay.
No, I just think that there's elements to players that before playing I couldn't figure out. I couldn't get it because I was just a regular Survivor viewer on my couch, and I took everything that they gave me at face value.
Right.
But now that I'm a player, I can read into it so much easier.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, well, this person's not doing anything. And like, I actually watched Brad. If you go back and watch that episode, he's the only one fishing. He's the only one
Right.
building fire. He's the only one getting water. And so, you know, you got to feel bad for him because he really was the leader
Yeah.
of the tribe.
Right.
Yep. All right, Enrico continues. Intense drama. A lot of drama in this season's version of Redemption Island, whereas before we only had Russell crying and Ozzy making an Oscar-winning, pun intended, performance in Season 22 and Season 23. This season's emotions peaked thus far with the Brad bashing hour. Previous Redemption Island contenders do not care as much. They just want to win against whomever they are playing against, regardless of the reason. This time the stakes are higher and makes you actually want to look forward to the duel. Now the big question would be, should Redemption Island continue after the merge? I prefer for it to be discontinued at that stage because by that time the family drama shifts to Tribal Council itself, and Redemption Island may just invalidate that. But we'll have to see how that works if and when that happens. What do y'all think?
Right off the bat, I'm going to disagree with you. How is it fair to say that people pre-merge don't get the same treatment as people post-merge? And I actually think that production should take it a step forward, and whoever gets voted in can go to Tribal Council, the final Tribal Council, and should have a spot there.
right.
Because it's not fair for the fourth person to just not get a chance to re-enter the game.
Right. All right. All right. Epic. Letter C. Number C. There we go. Crazy strategy. This is one game where being 3 steps ahead can work for you or against you. I must commend Sierra for being very perceptive of her surroundings, for keeping calm despite having been on the chopping block for weeks, and to some extent for being very lucky. Caleb tried to turn things around when his name popped up, and though he may not have been the immediate target, he felt that he had to turn on his alliance before they turned on him. BR rule number 3, I believe, he says. I'm happy that Caleb is coming out of Colton's shadow. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I do. I just want to like go into this. It could be, Boston rules or Boston Rob's rules, which is great. But I do not think that Caleb played that correctly.
Oh, well, tell us what you think.
Yeah, I just think that from my perspective, and I said this after I got voted out, and from everyone I've talked to who's also gotten voted out, if someone pulled me to the side and said, RC, we will vote you out tonight unless you do this, and then we're going to vote you out 7th instead of 11th, will you do it? I would be like, yes. Yeah, of course, because it will get me farther ahead in the game, and I will owe you one.
Right.
And it's the same situation I'm going to say with Caleb. If Caleb knew or whatever, like Brad was trying to save himself, he knew he was getting voted out, Caleb should have been like, fine, but I have you by the balls.
Uh-huh.
He would have done it. Brad would have done anything to not get voted out.
Right.
So I think that this is foreshadowing. I think Caleb's going to get it from these two girls. They were never in his alliance.
Right.
They were never going to be loyal to him. They just did it to save themselves. And so Caleb would have been much, much, much smarter sticking with the boys and like knowing your enemy versus not knowing your enemy at all.
Yeah.
It's another lesson to whoever's going to play. Don't do what Caleb did. Use it to your advantage.
It's almost sad that the guys had the numbers, they had the alliance, and they're knocking each other off.
Right.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Guys always play stupid on Survivor.
For two girls who can't do anything.
Yes. Yes.
And they're going to get farther. Watch.
Exactly.
Yes.
If they make the merge and make it back to moms, oh man, it's
That's
like
it.
they had no idea how close they were to walking off.
Yep.
Exactly.
Well, they probably do, but anyway.
All right, Enrico continues. By the way, thank you. In the way we do feedback shows, we talk a lot about the feedback. We interrupt the feedback. We have a good time with the feedback. So anytime you want to say something, y'all just come right in. He continues, wonder what Hayden will do now that another all-male Survivor alliance crumbles. As for Galong, so far what we know is that Laura Cat is outside of the main Ty Jer Mo T Ross alliance. Okay, Tyson Jervis, Monica, Tina, Aris alliance. But if they keep winning like Tandang, the three outsiders there you go. The three outsiders can easily hook up with the one remaining Tadhana and maybe even the Redemption Island returnee. Then again, it is also possible the loved ones get reunited, break away from their water relationships, and form a super family alliance bound by blood.
Ding, ding, ding.
There you go. All the possibilities. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just from what I know before, like what everyone was talking about before we went out and played, I think all of our alliances were made to get to the merge. And then when we got to the merge, all bets were off. And then we would reconfirm after then.
Right.
And so I think everyone was just waiting to like see who matched up.
Right.
And then we'd figure out the numbers again.
Yeah.
All right, so who's going to be stronger at the merge? A solo player who could be a flipper or a pair?
A pair.
I mean, obviously the numbers are better.
Always the numbers. And then they can just pull in a one or a twofer, and then that person can go even farther in the pair section because you're not going to vote them out right away.
Right.
Did that make sense? Did you get what I said? Just
Absolutely. That's what I agree with. I agree that's why I can't rate Laura Boneham any higher than she already is, because she's just going to be discarded as soon as they don't need her.
Right.
Exactly. And also I have it on really good authority that she was supposed to be the first voted out of that tribe. It was never supposed to be Colton or, the other list of people. But she keeps on sliding on in there.
Yeah.
Yep, they keep winning.
RC, you are a wonderful guest. I am so serious. I cannot wait to have you on again. Hopefully someday you will do it again. All right, he continues. I just hope CBS contains their excitement and refrains from revealing too much. Well, too bad.
Too late.
Too bad.
I was actually shocked with that too. Like sometimes I read it and then I know everything that's going to happen.
I know, it's crazy. It's wonderful that the cable channel where I watch Survivor doesn't show the same commercials, but when I receive notifications from the Facebook group about such and such, I am very tempted to look. I like that, but I also don't like that. It's weird, I know. This is all for now. Enrico from the Philippines. He has a PS. I'm going to ask one of his questions. If there was another return, this is to you, RC.
Okay.
If there was another returnee from Survivor Philippines, who would she have liked to compete with?
Me?
Yeah, who would you have liked to compete with?
Oh, okay. Well, here's a little tidbit for everyone at home. When I said people who were cast like in A round, the person that was also asked back from the Philippines was Lisa.
Oh, yes.
who I don't think, and Justice. So Justice was clearly on board. Lisa did not want to go back. And this is also through the grapevine. I've never actually talked to her about it.
Uh-huh.
And so I would have loved to play with Lisa again, because we didn't really get that opportunity the first time.
Right.
And then also Jeff Kent was asked back.
Oh, nice.
So Jeff Kent, I've also spilled this before, so this is not new unless you guys didn't hear it. Jeff Kent was actually asked back for 26 before Malcolm.
Oh, nice.
Malcolm was not the original Filipino man to be asked back.
Nice.
Jeff declined, and then Malcolm got the spot. And so he was also asked back for this season. I don't know what happened. And so, again, those two would have been like the two that I would have played with. But, I mean, Carter, anybody that I didn't really get a chance to play with before, but I have a really great relationship with now, I would have liked to be out there with.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, next
I'm surprised they didn't ask Malcolm and his brother. I would have thought for sure.
I mean,
that.
3 seasons in a row.
Yeah,
is
that's
bunch.
just,
Yeah, but they love Malcolm.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Malcolm may have his day again. All right, next we have 3 more, and this one is a audio feedback from Samantha, a.k.a. Survivor Rocks.
Wow, this is Samantha, a.k.a. Survivor Rocks, now from Texas. Candace is bad to the bone in Redemption Island. It would be interesting to see Brad return from Redemption, but I don't like Survivor Brad. It's a hate-to-love relationship. Caleb reminds me of a young Richard Hatch. With that said, I think he can go far. Don't think he will win, so maybe not quite the Richard Hatch yet, but he's pretty close. I have liked Caleb from the start and liked him more with each episode. I am hoping for some kind of tribal switcheroo soon. Keeps things spicy and dicey. I continue to be highly impressed with Aris and Vetus. Those two have done their homework. Kudos, guys. The Coconut Bandits were funny, but not too clever. I can't help but love Jervis and want to cheer him on. It's good to see him back. I feel Monica, which I love, is in a hole because of Survivor Brad. I think Monica has what it takes to survive and is better off without Brad. I will give Tyson, a.k.a. Cupcake, credit. He got in there and he pulled his weight and helped send his tribe to another victory, even with his injury. Kudos, Tyson. He wised up. But just be careful back at camp and not get into the routine of being too lazy and I am helpless, because that is what your tribe will start to see you as, lazy, helpless, and no use to your tribe. Let's head on over to Tribal Council. Caleb really made his big move here and took risk. I love it. Kudos, Caleb. Blindsiding Brad right into Redemption Island. Hayden, step it up. A little disappointed he didn't switch his vote. I expect great things from this Big Brother winner. Kudos, Survivor, for another great episode this week. Brad, your tribe has just shushed you. Shh.
Okay, that's Samantha, a.k.a. Survivor Rocks. Hey, RC, what do you think about Hayden not switching his vote and Vetus switching his vote? Would they have had...
I mean, right off the bat, what does that say to you? The minute she said it, I was like, okay, well, we've got an all-star winner not switching his vote. What does that tell you, viewers at home? What was the right move to make? Not switching your vote, sticking with your alliance, making sure those boys were strong. There was probably tape that they didn't end up showing because they wanted to make it look very dynamic and you know, suspenseful. But it was probably Hayden begging or Vitus begging for it to not work. Yeah. Right. It was not the right move. And I'm telling you, it will come back and bite him in the ass. I bet my bottom dollar on it.
Okay. And I understand that. My question is coming from the perspective of Sierra and Katie are not going to change their vote. Whatever. They're not going to change their vote. So, and Caleb's not changing his vote. Weren't they risking going to Rocks? Yeah.
They were risking going to Rocks. They should have told that to Caleb, and then Caleb would have caved. But the way they handled the situation, and I'm talking about Hayden and Vetus, I'm imagining because they didn't air it, were wishy-washy and not pushy enough. They should have been pushy enough. And right there in the open, because the alliance has crumbled now. Mm-hmm. I don't know where they're going to go. I don't know where that tribe is going to go, where they're going to make it out of where they got to now.
So why does Caleb think anybody's going to trust him now that he basically did what Brad did to John?
Right.
I have no idea. And then he
Yeah.
was sitting in the boat being like, I have all the power now. It's like,
Yeah.
no, the minute you say I have all the power is the minute you don't have the power.
That's right.
Exactly.
He just replaced Brad as the figurehead of the head of the group.
Right.
But really, it's Hayden and Vetus that are pulling the strings for the puppet to dance.
Yeah.
Right.
And the puppet's now Caleb.
Yep. All right. Shayna, do you want to read Lou's from New York?
Sure.
All right. Sorry, David.
Lou from New York, titled Breaking Brad or Brad's Bad Blood. Well, blood versus water is getting thicker and thicker the farther the game progresses. It's not clear-cut how the players should approach this game with all the twists. Some crazy moves, crazy behavior, crazy reaction. So many different ideas on how to get through to the end. So far, nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. I'm loving it. I really like this cast, but so far very few are in the spotlight. So besides Caleb, Brad is the story this week. Much of the attention is focused on him. He appears to like it, but Monica doesn't. He's a big physical threat with a big strong personality and driven ego. Question: how the heck can someone like that ever win Survivor? Going into the game, even Brad knew that. So Brad, with the editing, I think Brad has gotten a lot of airtime, but it's been fairly balanced and much, much better than it was last season, really.
All right.
So he goes on. Much of the success playing Survivor is from a variety of basic skills learned in kindergarten. Bad boy Brad might not have paid enough attention. I really expected he was going to show us how to win. So far, I see a game, but I'm patient. Sadly, though, it confirms that to excel at any big league game, there are, besides the physical, mechanical skills, certain intangibles that are essential. Brad's calling what was to play football. No questioning his talent and skills playing in the NFL. Truly a gifted person. I envy him, and he has my utmost respect. Lean forward. Let's look closer. Football training seems to develop the keen sense of thinking as a team and not as an individual. Relying on others and others, depending on all the time, is drilled into your brain over and over and becomes second nature. Hard for Brad to break what he's been etched into the brain. That's Brad's issue. He's a football player and can't get away from that mindset. And what makes matters worse, the clock has run out and the clock always wins. He's retired. Must be so hard to put down the ball once you get on in your years. He won't need the helmet, shoulder pads, spikes, chalk, or ego anymore. There may be some unfinished business. I think that's what Brad's feeling, and what's even worse than that, he's never been one to carry the ball as a defensive tackle, but I'm sure he's always wanted to. Maybe running the ball in Survivor was a game, but as it turns out, not sure if he realized which goalpost he was heading for. Brad, no, shouts Coach Lou. He seems to be playing for the other team. Huh? No, seriously, not tongue-in-cheek. Both he and Caleb are playing for the other team. Monica, did you realize that? What about you, Colton? Does that surprise you too? Brad, Caleb, you realize that. D&D, did you? Lou? You hip to what's going down?
Can I just say, as of right now, I'm totally confused by Lou, but let's just continue.
Yeah.
See, I'm actually disagreeing with his point in the fact that he messed up the team aspect. He turned on his own teammate. Sierra and Katie were not on his team, but John was. And I know he didn't trust him, and I know he was worried about Candace coming back. But like I wrote in my blog, I went back and counted Redemption Island, the first one, and that person didn't even come back in the game till like day 21. Right. And they took John out in day 8 or 9. Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't have been even close to her coming back, and he was worried about her coming back. Like, yeah, dude, you need to worry about winning challenges. That's what you need to worry about.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I just, from where I think he was coming from, get rid of the people who didn't have attachments on the other side to sort of help Monica and not piss anybody off on the other side, which is the smartest strategy to have. Why not get rid of Caleb? Why not get rid of John? Loyalty is much, much stronger in this game than winning a challenge.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that point. I can see that point.
And then I would just like to point out, just because I have to, I know that we put ourselves on Survivor to be judged, and we allow that. That's part of like the process. But I think there's also a line to cross and like to not be cruel. And for sometimes I think that people go on like the nasty side of like commenting instead of just being like, oh, the gameplay or this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
So Lou, I know Brad personally. He is not like that, and he certainly doesn't play for the other side. We all know that because he's got like 3 kids and a very loving marriage, and he's my boy, so I'll stick up for him anytime.
All right, well, let's see what else Lou has to say. He ain't finished yet.
Brad and his 10 on a bread-breaking, blood brotha Caleb are really helping Galong, and some savvy Galong bangers can see that. The explanation is long-winded. D&D, please help me out and explain that.
No.
Wednesday.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Wednesday night game of the week. Just ready to blow the whistle. It will be 4th and long on Redemption Island for Brad, Candace, and John. There's still plenty of time left on the clock. What play to call? Who's going to drop the ball? Candace's blood running cold as ice. John's blood boiling from the bad blood on. No doubt has not been breaking bread with Brad. Brad still has a chance, so I'm not discounting him yet. They all have their work cut out. A sudden death overtime, head-to-head blood match. Although it will be 2 against 1, the score is tied. This is stuff that makes heroes heroes, villains villains, and a great show. Right, Jeff? Brad knows this, and he's wired for just these kinds of moments. Been a while for him. It's his big league. It's in his blood. Question. Who wouldn't want to be part of this? Anyone? Answer. Not Colton. He can't handle the sight of blood. Okay, anyone else? I do. Oh, I do. Roars Rupert. Yes, he's got the stomach for it. Anyone else? Me. Yep. It's a long list of former players, prospective players, fans and viewers who can smell the blood in the water, craving the chance to draw first blood and break Brad. Final thoughts. Brad, leave your ball at home. It's the wrong kind. Your ball is too big. You won't need it here. This is Survivor, not the NFL. If there's a challenge that requires balls, Jeff's got them. Okay, Coach Lou, says Brad. Gotta go. Jets game just started and I need my coaching too. Regards, Lou from NYC.
All right.
Wow.
That's Lou for you. And we'll just leave it at that. How's that?
I'm on Team Brad. I hope he gets first or second in Redemption. I think it'll be hilarious if Candace is on Redemption with him, and they could maybe mend fences, settle some scores. I just think it would be boring if it's John and Candace on Redemption Island, and it's, I don't know.
Oh, sure.
So they're teasing that one of them might stop to let the other one win. See, I could see it being the other way around. If Brad wins, Candace wouldn't want to be on the island, so she would stop, and John would say, no, honey, you should win, so I'm going to stop. So they're going to fight over who's actually going to quit and who's going to let the other one win. Okay, I can see that happening.
Oh, gosh.
Nobody wants to be on there with Brad.
That's horrible. Y'all are horrible.
No, I'm saying it in a sarcastic way, obviously, because I liked Brad, too. I was pulling for Brad at the same time.
I think you saw who Brad really is whenever he was voted off, and he tried to go to every single person and kind of mend fences and say, hey, man, it's all right, That's the kind of thing I would do.
That's the game. That's right. And
I think it was the appropriate thing to do for Caleb to like sort of turn his back and be like, no, buddy, I'm good. It's like,
right.
Just give him a hug, give him a handshake. You're not going to see him again, or he's going to Redemption Island. Think long term if he comes back, or is he going to be willing to play with you?
Right.
I mean, this is why I call him a stupid player.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, our last feedback, and it's a short one from Stephanie K., a first-time contributor to our feedback show. Hey, guys, I'm riding an Amtrak quiet car right now, so I can't record my question, but here it is. In his confessional, Brad said that he wanted to vote Caleb out because no one on the other tribe would be upset about it, since Caleb's loved one is gone, and it would give Brad a break from being public enemy number 1. But at Tribal Council, Jeff seemed to indicate that players without loved ones are actually dangerous, and it seemed like Brad agreed. I'm not sure why he thinks this. Wouldn't a player without a loved one be less of a threat because they are playing for themselves now? Interested to hear your thoughts on this. Stephanie K. Any thoughts?
I mean, the thought with Survivors, you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like, someone will find some reason, one way or the other, to try to get rid of you, or to think they're your threat, or think that you're worthless. So,
Right.
it just depends on which way the wind's blowing at the moment for people to believe something. But what I think personally is that Brad was never supposed to be the person voted out going into tribal that night.
Oh, no.
And, oh, yeah. So, like, usually the mind's made up 100% before you
Right.
get there, which is why keep your mouth shut, like I said again.
Right.
I think that if production ever thought that Brad was going to blow himself up or there was a possibility he was going to get voted out, they would have never let it happen, and they would have intervened and pushed people a certain way.
Really?
Yeah, I think that they, he was the star. He's the people that get, the football players watching, and a lot of stuff has been evolved around him. So I think it was out of production's control at that point, and I think Jeff sort of gets to be the extra player on the field sometimes.
Yeah.
And he pushed it a certain way that I don't think production was going to be happy with.
Okay, so I don't want you to get in trouble by telling us too much, but you're kind of implying that if production gets wind that certain person's going home and they don't want that certain person going home, that they would like talk to people and try to kind of change their minds and stuff? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. I think they'll just hint that maybe it's easier if you do this, or maybe like, have you thought about, working with this person instead? So they'll sort of hint at things that make your mind get going.
Nice.
Yeah. And so like, I really think that tribal was very easy. It was a layup. One of the girls was going home. Then there just wasn't enough tape. So Probst was just trying to get other things happening.
Yeah.
And screwed him up.
Yeah. Caleb blindsided everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. To the detriment of his game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because see, when we get to the merge, I don't think any of the solo players are going to be in a good position necessarily, unless they're a challenge beast. I mean, because who's going to turn on their loved one and agree with the solo player?
Right.
I mean, who's going to want to be willing? I mean, nobody. Nobody's going to turn away from. To me, I don't think anybody's going to turn from their loved one. That's going to be their first alliance.
You have to think about it in the terms of, okay, well, if pairs are going to pair up.
Right. Well, you need a tiebreaker.
Take one. Exactly.
Yeah,
and then they're going to be like, oh, well, let's weaken this pair so we can keep ourselves strong.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, that one person, if they keep their mouth shut and play their cards right, they're going to go all the way to the end.
Well, there you go.
See, I wonder what the deal is going to be if you get 4 pairs left, and one solo player. Are the 4 pairs going to say, all right, let's just agree to get rid of the solo player, or are they going to fight for that solo player with from the alliances? That's what I'll be interested to see.
We shall see.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the episode 5 teaser. And Shayna's going to handle this unless, David, you have it in front of you.
I've still got my keys right beside me. I just
all
walked
right,
in the door.
then Shayna, take care of the episode 5 teaser from CBS.
Okay. The dead can still talk. One castaway sacrifices their own life in the game for a loved one. Meanwhile, this season is full of blind sides, continues at a wild, unpredictable tribal council.
Another blind side. Well, I think I know who that is, but you'll find out when you hear my fantasy picks. And
I just feel like CBS needs to revamp what their word blindside really is.
Yeah, really.
That's just my understanding. I don't think you can kind of call things blindside sometimes, and they do.
Yeah,
right.
It's kind of like the boy that cried wolf.
Yeah.
All right, CBS tweet.
Blindsides continue, and there's a wild tribal council on Survivor, Blood versus Water.
There you go. All right, RC, we do a fantasy pool here, and we're going to go over our picks, and we will, if you can, tell us your picks, since I know you know things. So
Okay.
All right. So, David, you don't have any of this stuff in front of you, right? So I'll handle it?
Yep.
All right, fantasy pool picks. Who wins at Redemption Island? David, who'd you pick?
I'm going to pick Brad.
Brad. All right. Shayna,
Because I think that's
ahead.
where the issue is going to come up with the other two.
All right. Shayna, who do you think's going to win at Redemption Island?
I'm picking Brad.
Brad. Wow. RC, are you allowed to tell us?
I don't know, actually.
Okay.
I only know little things about the season on a macro level. And so I'm guessing that John's going to pull it out because I think John's more of the puzzle maker.
Okay.
I think Brad is 100% physical. I don't think that he's as strong with puzzles. So I'm hoping, just because I love him, that he'll squeak out a 2 and stay, and that sends Candace home.
All right. I picked Candace to win at Redemption Island, but that could change. As always. All
Have
right.
we been teased? By the way, have we been teased with what Redemption Islands is this time around?
Yeah, they're doing another one of those crawling on top of things, putting the boards in.
The plank challenge.
Yeah.
You put the planks in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's the cameraman's favorite tribe. I mean, favorite duel when there's women involved. Gosh. All right. So number 2, who is eliminated from Redemption Island? So I picked John. Who'd you pick, David?
I'm going to pick John because I think he's going to bow out. I think
All
he's
right.
going to stop the challenge.
All right. Shayna?
I picked John because I think he wants it the least. So.
All right. RC?
Hoping for Candace.
All right.
But I also have to say, I don't understand why you guys keep thinking John's going to bow out. He certainly didn't bow out his first time.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to bow out. That would
Like,
be David.
He finished he finished the puzzle and like did not have any regard for where Candace was.
Right. Yeah, David. What about that? Huh?
Everybody has a right to their own opinion.
Yeah.
And I can't see any of you, so this is the weirdest thing.
I know, it's crazy. We usually feed off of each other. We can joke better that way.
I'll be honest. I'm going by this horrible teaser. I hate these teasers.
I
When they
know.
start saying these things, and I hate it. But to me, I see John being the one to say leave Candace in the game. I think Brad's going to win somehow. I agree though. I don't see Brad as the puzzle king.
No.
Not like
Oh, well,
John. Not like John was.
Well, that's also an interesting, really, fact. Say Candace gets third. Can John say, no, I'll quit and trade places with her there?
Gosh.
I think it only says at the duel. It doesn't say after the duel.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, where they should be able to do it almost at any point. But if she loses the duel, I guess or until she burns her buff, she's not out of the game. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll find out. Only
Yeah.
a couple more
It depends on what production wants. If they want John to stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're catching on.
Yes. All right. So, RC, we get to put 20 points on. We get to spread out 20 points among all the remaining players of who we think is going home. All right.
Oh, okay.
And up to this point, David and I are only 2 points away from each other.
Got it.
He's got a perfect score, and I'm 2 away from a perfect score.
Okay.
So here we are, David. Well, let's do Shayna first. Shayna, how are you doing your 20 points?
Honestly, I am not doing that good.
Well, maybe not, but what are you doing this time?
So she wants to go last, is what she's saying.
Oh,
Yes.
you want to wait to see what RC says. I see how
Yes.
it is. All right, David, go ahead. How'd you do your 20 points?
Dwayne, I think you ought to go first.
Oh, shut up. All right. All 20 points on Caleb. All 20 on Caleb. I think he shot himself in the foot. He thinks he's got the pig kahunas, but in reality, they're little lemons, and he's going home. He is in trouble. 20 points on Caleb.
Okay.
Come on, you others that aren't saying anything.
All right, I'll do mine. I've actually got my points split right now because when he talks about, they're saying blindside, it's like whose version of a blindside, a real blindside or just a CBS blindside. So the only person to me that would be blindsided on the Galang tribe who thinks they're in the game when they're actually not is Kat. I could actually see Kat getting blindsided again. On the other side, it would have to be Caleb. So I'm probably gonna split points between Kat and Caleb right now to give Dwaine a chance to catch up.
I think by the end of this, you'll put all 20 points on Caleb because you know there ain't an ice cube's chance in Hades of Galang losing another challenge.
But remember, all those people that have been sitting out are gonna have to compete.
All right, go ahead.
Or they might say both tribes going to tribal council. Might do one of those things.
Shayna. All right, Shayna, do your points before RC
Yeah,
goes.
because that's the only way Galang will lose a member.
Yes.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to split them. I'm going to go with Kat if Galang goes because I just think, that would be funny if blindsided, last season she just said, blindsides are awesome. I love them.
Yeah.
So that would just be great if she got the blindside. And if Tadhana loses, I'm going to go with Sierra because I think maybe the guys will realize, what they're doing isn't working with voting off their strong guys and they have to go with the weakest player.
All right. So basically, production is going to go up to everybody on Galang and say, "Hey, wouldn't it be crazy if y'all got Kat to say another blindside thing was going to happen, and then y'all blindsided her? We'll promise we'll put you on the commercial. We promise."
Hilarious. Okay, so there's There's a couple of things I know, like I said before, but not a lot. I really don't know a lot about this season.
Okay.
But I do know that there is an epic blindside, like a true blindside where when the person went back to Ponderosa, like still couldn't get over it.
Oh.
And like tried to like cover it up, even though obviously it's going to air.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so if it's what I think it is, then it's a true blindside like we talked about.
Uh-huh.
And it's great.
Oh,
and
man.
In that sense,
Well, that ain't Caleb, for crying out loud.
and in that sense, then it would be a returning player that got it.
Right.
I don't know because, they've called every single person who's left a blindside so far.
Yeah.
So I just don't know what's going to happen.
And
But
you don't know that the epic one is this week.
Exactly. And I also
Right.
don't know how epic it is. Like, again, this
Yeah.
is all hearsay from the people I
Right.
know.
Right.
So who would be epic? Aris would be epic. That would be to me would be a major blindside, or even Tyson. So
Right.
wow.
No, we're not trying to get you to tell us, RC. We're just
No.
we're just speculating.
You can tell us after we go off the air.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Oh, go ahead, RC. What?
No, I was going to say, well, I mean, that's the only thing they really have been showing in the commercials this
Yeah.
week. It's just blindside and that's it. So.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the show again for my crazy theory. Every week, I give you a crazy theory that has no chance in the world of happening, but I have come close a couple of times, believe it or not. So here it is, and I'm gonna. My wife says that I don't read my crazy theory very well, that I need to just say it and not read it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to just say it and not read it. All right, here we go. So Brad goes to Redemption Island and he wakes up John and Candace. Mm-hmm. Right?
Oh, God.
And they're like, oh, great. Thank you, Brad, for waking us up. Because, Candace, loves Brad so much. Right? And they can't keep Brad from talking, so they decide to go on a little walk down the beach. So Candace and John are walking along the beach. They've enjoyed 2 days of, honeymoon bliss by themselves on this beautiful beach. And production is giving them all kinds of stuff so they can just really enjoy it. And the next thing they know, it's morning, and they walk upon this box. And on the box, it says, if you're tired of the game, tired of the drama, tired of Brad, tired of your other players, you may open this box to find relief. But be careful. While you will certainly love the relief, you will also lose your shot at $1 million.
Oh.
Okay, so John, being John, doesn't, he just immediately opens the box.
Uh-huh.
Candace is ticked off. What are you doing? We're supposed to be playing this game, but it's too late. He opens the box. And in the box are 2 tickets to the Bahamas. All right? All right, it's crazy theory. It ain't going to happen, but if it did. And it says, enjoy your second honeymoon in the Bahamas. We'll pick you up in 3 weeks. All right? Candace is furious. John is apologizing. And RC and her dad are flying in on a helicopter.
Oh.
That's right.
To
RC's...
replace them?
Do what?
To replace them?
Yes, that's right. RC's dad has passed the physical, and they are being brought back to the game at Redemption Island. All right. The next morning, Brad and the rest of the players are shocked to see RC and her dad. But what's more shocking is that as both RC and her dad get ready for the duel, RC is wearing her signature leopard bikini. Her dad, a matching Speedo.
Oh.
Let the games begin.
So cute.
That's my crazy theory.
That's really cute.
I'm sticking with it.
I love it.
All right. Hey,
you want to hear
ahead.
another little tidbit?
Oh, tell us all. Hey, you will stay on. We will stay on as long as you want to, RC.
So they didn't know what they were going to do with wardrobe this time around. Usually, everyone gets a color scheme, and you have to pick the color scheme, and they pretty much tell you what you should be wearing. So, they told me I should wear a suit to represent Wall Street, right?
Right.
So this time around, I was going to wear literally the exact same suit I wore the first time, since I was only there for 19 days.
Right.
And they tried to do every pair to match. I don't know if you viewers picked that up. Mm-hmm. So you know how Laura and her daughter are both wearing heart American flag T-shirts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then they go to my dad, and they asked him, would you be comfortable with a leopard bathing suit?
So I wasn't that far off.
You were not that far off.
Check it out, David.
Yeah, but and then it was like, okay, well, how high does it go? Because it's a family show, and so, yeah, there was a lot of like scouting the internet trying to find like an appropriate male leopard bathing suit for him.
Wow.
And by the way, don't Google male leopard bathing suits.
I was
You're not going to want to see what happens.
I was just thinking there aren't too many
number
modest,
one. And number two, the funniest part of the whole thing, in the end, they didn't even go for it because they felt it was going to be too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for some reason, me and leopard is quite okay, but for a 6-year-old man, it's...
Yeah, there aren't too many people complaining about you in leopard.
Thank you very
There aren't
much.
too many. There aren't too many. So
there you go. Another little tidbit.
yeah. Well, RC, have you enjoyed being on the show?
With you guys, most definitely.
Good. Well, I tell you what, later on, maybe next season we can have you on again. If you're interested, I'll ask you then, and if you want to, we'd love to have you.
Or later this season. You can come back this
Would
season.
love to. Thank you so much. I might not have the same insight next season, but
Right.
thanks for having me, and I hope everyone enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, it's been great. We're going to go ahead and let you go, and then we'll unless, David, did you have any questions for RC that you didn't get to ask since you got in late?
Well, did you you might have already talked about it. Did you get a hint? Are you reminding me that I got in late? Did you get any hint that the format was changed when it was no longer an even setup of blood relatives and water relatives? Did you already talk about that?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, no,
All right.
they I will say this, they didn't really know how to handle it because they've never had this happen before.
Mm-hmm.
And I clearly wasn't a newbie, and so I already had these existing relationships and friendships, and then you're
Right.
with these people for an entire week before filming starts. And so it was very, very odd. And I asked if I could say goodbye to everyone, and they were like, no. And so yeah,
Oh, gosh.
it was really odd. And then if you hear the account from like the press that was there, apparently they were all lined up to take the picture, and then in comes like Candace and her husband, and everyone went crazy, which is nice. It's nice to feel wanted and loved. But in that sense, yeah, no, I don't think they knew how to handle it, and so
Yeah.
it was a very interesting and odd and weird beginning to the show.
Yeah. You know, I've said this before. I think CBS did some bad planning to not have a blood backup and a water backup.
I agree with you. They did, though, and that's the hardest part that I can explain, is that there's not another, I'm not tuning my own horn, I'm just saying, there's not another dynamic to fit me and my father that could be a perfect fit for us as backup,
Oh.
if that makes sense. So they had a backup for blood versus water, just not one for me and my father.
Oh.
They had other ones in place. So Candace was the backup for obviously Kat and Rachel and Monica.
Right.
So that was taking care of the water side.
Yeah.
So I think that now all protocol has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're going to have it, but this was just a very special circumstance.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, thank you, RC, for coming on. It's
Thanks
been
for
a
having
pleasure
me.
having you, and we're going to go ahead and say goodbye, and then we'll close out the show. And hopefully
Okay.
you'll listen and tell everybody on Twitter about the show tomorrow when it's out.
Will do. Thanks for having me again, guys.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. We want to thank you for listening. You can follow us on Twitter at Survivor_Talk. You can also join our Facebook group/Survivor Talk. And always go to our website, survivortalkwithdnd.com. Click on an Amazon link and buy something. Right?
Right.
Are y'all there?
Right.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
It's like, hello, am I by myself? All right. Also, remember to listen to our Shooting the Breeze podcast, where David and I talk about TV, movies. We tell stories about our lives and fun stuff like that. It's always fun. Any final words, Shayna? Any final words?
This is, thank you for letting me do this. This was a lot of fun, and it was awesome meeting RC. And this,
know.
she gave some great information.
Oh, my gosh, David, did you ever miss the... Oh, man, it was so good. I cannot wait to have her on again. It was great. David's
Can't wait to listen.
Yeah, like, thanks, Dwaine. Thanks for rubbing
I
it
would
in.
have loved to have listened, but we couldn't get on Google. But I understand why it was a platform thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a platform
This is one I will definitely listen to. I'll put it to you that way.
Well,
Since
David,
I don't ever listen.
Yeah, David, do you have any final words, David?
Thank you, Shayna. Thank you for stepping in and obviously doing a great job. I still think this is going to be the highest rated podcast because I wasn't in it. So just thank you for taking care of Dwaine and keeping him straight.
No,
right.
you're very welcome.
Music for tonight's show is Giving You All Control by Jeremy Camp. We want to thank everybody again for listening. And that's all I got. How about you, Shayna?
No, I'm good.
How about you, David?
I'm good.
All right. See you, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Both my feet on the floor.